Hello and welcome to Shy Talk, a Patreon ad. This is a pitch to try and get you to go over and subscribe to our Patreon just for a bit. This is a pitch. Why would a man choose to listen to a podcast for free when he can pay for it and truly own the podcast? By purchasing Patreon, become a subscribing member. A member of a community. After all, when he's listening to a podcast, he's not listening to a podcast. He's listening to a friend. And what better way to treat a friend than buying him a pint? We're not selling a podcast. What you're selling is a community. After all, isn't that what any of us want? I know that's what I want. Imagine listening behind a paywall. It's a sense of esteem. You own the podcast. It's yours. You're not just a passerby. You're a member of a community. A card holder. People look at him and say, there's a Patreon member. There's a listener. My name's Don Draper. I haven't seen Mad Men in a long time. That's a spot-on impression, I think. And Don makes a good point. You can click the link in the description of this episode. It'll bring you to the Patreon page. You send us 5 humble euros or whatever currency, and then for that you get access to all the stuff we've been doing there. We've got film club episodes. We were just talking about The Butcher Boy. We watched that, chatted about it with James Cadden. That was a lot of fun. We talked about Buck Willie, the Jerusalem Pilgrim. I mean, what a title. Already, I'm like, what's this about? I want to know about Buck Willie. We did a very fun episode about art heists and the time a man punched a hole in a Monet painting. Don't you want to hear about that? Of course you do. Who wouldn't want to hear about that? And then there's this episode, the Mattie McGrath mini Cowboy special. We had a lot of good feedback on this one. Some people were saying it's the best episode we've ever done. Now, that's not my words. That's the words of some guy that you should trust. Some patron. But don't take his word for it. Here's the first few minutes of that episode. Because it's behind the paywall, we've actually put some effort into it. And we've got clips from radio interviews, news interviews, clips of Mattie and the doll. We rip them all. We put them all into the episode. It's all done fancy style. It's like the usual episodes, but they're good now. And that's only just the beginning. You get access to all the other stuff we've done ever on the Patreon. That's all there. The Sean Quinn stuff, all the bonus stuff, all the film club stuff, and all the stuff we're going to put out this month, the month of August, because we're doing another month of Patreon only, so that we can pay rent and, buy pints. But it's the rent first, and then whatever's left over, we'll be spending it on pints. But anyway, that's the pitch. The link for the Patreon's in the description of this episode. Here's the opening bits of Mattie McGrath. If you want to find out the full story, get over to the Patreon. Give us your money, and we'll tell you about Mattie. That's a fair swap. Alright, enjoy.
Gather around now, you're in for a story. Old tales of lore, all in search of a glory. The history and mystery of lads, lasses and all. Discoveries and voyages, the rise and the fall.
Follow me now as we go back in time. Retrace the steps of Irish lineage to find Joseph from Carlisle and Catherine the dog. Guide you through the ways of Shy.
Alright, we'll start in the beginning. Born 1st of September 1958 in Newcastle, County Tipperary. Mattie McGrath is an independent TD for Tip South. And he most recently went viral for his clip in the Dáil, aka the Irish government building, where I'm just going to play it. I don't know what that he was talking about.
Both Bernal have actually postponed the decision deadline 3 times. And what do they do now? They've just abandoned the process. We haven't abandoned it, it's still in the system, but they have given no deadline now as to when they might make a decision. It's just, they had one and they put it off for a month or two, and then out for a month or two, and a month or two, and now they're just vague. There's no decision date on it. And that's happening with a lot of projects. So, Board Pernal is not fit for purpose. There's too much political influence, I think they've been alluded to too, as far as I'm concerned there. And it's not transparent. And we'll see when all the dirty linen is washed, we'll see when the clothes are hanging out the line a good summer's day like today, they'll be fairly well stained and need the washing machine and Daz or whatever they call it that they use now. I don't know, they've gone away from Daz. I'm not saying I'm a bad homemaker now that I don't do some washing, but I'm not up to speed in the capsules that go in, the type of them that go into the washing machine. But it used to be surf and Daz, and when I was a Dino and the Town Crawler, I remember that as well. But look, we have a lot of cleaning up to do. So this bill...
The Cowboy low. Yeah. Now, as I was listening to all these, I don't know how much you even have to explain because this is a Patreon episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's Patreon July. I'm aware that a lot of our patrons aren't from Ireland.
Yeah.
I was going to start so the bits that were, he says Dinog in there, which I think just means young person, like Dina Og. Can Corla, they're the sort of
old person.
They're the adjudicator of the
doll,
the government building. But then, like, there's not really much point explaining those two things because if you don't know that, you won't have understood a word that man just said.
Yeah,
I'd say. Now, even the bit that was the joke was about halfway through that, but the first half is still unintelligible.
He was saying that Board Planola isn't fit for its purpose. That
Yeah.
there's too many government influences and there's it's bloated.
And I think he was saying, well, there's a phrase, I suppose, it'll all come out in the wash.
Yes,
Which he fucked up somehow to say. Even when it comes out in the wash, there'll still be stains on it. And then he went on a rant about Daz, a popular washing detergent.
that they don't use anymore. Which
guess
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
He caught his mistake as he was saying it.
He did.
And then that's when he just found himself in a tailspin.
Now,
And I wouldn't be saying I wouldn't be doing the dishwashing. I moved on since my time. But
and you said he tried to, because we talked about this the other day, and you reckoned he tried to, didn't want to come across as sexist.
yeah,
Tried to save himself. Now, that's not the Mattie I know,
I was going to say I haven't heard it a couple of times more now. I've changed my opinion.
but I want to, let's not, this isn't some sort of hatchet job. This is just research.
We love this man.
I want, after...
Kevin said he's his hero.
He is my hero. I'd vote for him every day. I'm moving to Tip so I can vote for him.
Tip north, tip south.
Tip South.
Okay,
Yeah, the best one.
I'll go tip north.
After every bit of information, you just let me know. Is that a vote for Mattie? Mattie number one? Or
For the
are you on the
listeners,
fence?
Kevin has his thumb up, kind of like gladiator style.
Yes.
And-
What? Yeah.
Caesar Brennan over here now. I'll decide.
What way was Caesar Brent? Well, so Mattie McGrath, a classic parish pump politician, which again is a phrase for
A bygone
the
time.
foreigners. Yeah, I guess someone who'd be around to be a pump.
The
in
water pump.
The parish.
The water
where
pump.
the water would come from.
Yeah.
And I suppose they'd just be, I don't know, there'd be local stuff, hanging around, listening to local concerns. It wouldn't
Fixing
matter.
signs.
Yeah,
cleaning
fixing roads,
Yeah.
getting hedges cut, sorting out passports for young fellas, that sort of thing. That, up in Dublin, they laugh. They look down their noses at parish politics. But sure, they wouldn't know a fucking parish pump if they tripped across it.
Yeah, I didn't really know what it was when you said it.
Yeah, I know there was one in my parish.
They got rid of the water pump in my village.
Yeah, and it never worked. But,
Well, it used to, and the one up at the top of the road used to work as well, and they got rid of that, and that was sad.
if only we had Mattie McGrath in our constituencies. So he's the sort of man showing up at funerals, handshaking, making sure it's eaten. I've heard accounts.
Shaking babies, kissing hands.
There's different bits I'm not going to put into this. So this is something I just read, unverified, but I had heard different accounts that he'll show up at funerals and wakes in like a Mattie McGrath TD van.
Yes.
Yeah, which
Well,
is
it's
some would say a little-
great advertising.
yeah, it's great advertising. The long called for it. So I'm not. He's one step away from having like a. No one's saying he does have some sort of novelty horn when he pulls up outside of a bereavement, but it seems like that might be the type of him. He's also one of those classic TDs, like who used to be in either Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil, and then they go independent at some point over
They've
some
had- they had-
insane issue.
Yeah, they'd have fallen out, but then
Yeah.
they're not willing to switch to the other one.
No, they
That'd
just
be too far.
get elected every year. They like latch on to some very local or usually some mad issue.
Well, what was Mattie's?
His
we'll kind of jump around a bit, I suppose. I think the big one for him was a ban on stag hunting. That you couldn't hunt deer and stag.
Oh, okay.
And he said,
I thought you were saying it's the most dangerous game of them all.
oh yeah, the stag party.
Yeah, I was thinking we'll double them up. We'll do axe throwing and hunting in the one.
The axe throwing, classic stag party activity. What if you just turn the fucking axes on them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so it's not. Listen, we'll get into when he jumped ship. Let's talk about his Fianna Fáil days first. So I went and looked at his website. Do you want to know what his slogan is?
Oh, Mattie McGrath. He's not in the Ra. Wink.
Wink. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Mattie McGrath, getting the work done.
Nice.
That's great.
Getting the work done.
Getting the work done. The implication there being those other lads
Aren't.
they're not getting the work done. But Mattie, he's getting the work. He's fucking getting it done.
They don't even have a minibus with their face on the side of it.
How do they get to funerals? Probably by bicycle, knowing that lot.
They don't even have a horn. They don't even have a
They
horn.
don't even have a fucking horn on the bike.
How do you get attention at all?
He's also one of those. This might be leading the witness now a bit, but he's also one of those politicians who's, you know, a man of the people. We heard a clip of him there at the start. He's a rural man.
Yes.
He's you know,
strapping young buck.
walking around. He knows everyone's name. He walks the beat. He's also one of those politicians who's a secret millionaire. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a secret, but he's of the Healy Ray school where he's like, just fucking an honest working day man.
Yeah.
And then, so he started his own plant tire business in 1983 called Suicide Plant Tire. As of last year, he's got a net worth of 1.6 million.
Nice. Fair play to Mattie.
Fair play to him. But he does share that with his lovely wife and 8 kids.
Jesus.
Yes. Yeah.
A very rural man of a different
Very
generation.
rural man, yes. But yeah, you wouldn't know what to look at him, but he is a millionaire. But I think a lot of it...
Secret millionaire would be class. If the episode was a
Mattie.
politician.
Yeah. I've seen your face on the side of a bus outside my ma's funeral.